I want to welcome in our all-star political panel on this Wednesday morning. Former Lieutenant Governor of New York, Betsy McCoy, is with us. Political analyst Mark Halperin is here, and Project 21 National Advisory Board member Chris Arps back with us this morning. Panel, good morning. We knew that there was some infighting within the Republican Party. Normally, the president had Twitter to sort of, vent and rant and talk about, whatever he was feeling about a certain topic. But he released a lengthy statement late yesterday talking about Mitch McConnell. There is no love lost there. This is what the statement said. It said, quote, Mitch is a dour, sullen, and unsmiling political hack, and if Republican senators are going to stay, I assume he's talking about 2022, but I'm sure that he's also talking about 2024 as well.
Yeah, and also now, I think he'd like to see McConnell replaced as the Republican leader. Look, if you were building from scratch someone to be the anti-Trump in terms of what Donald Trump likes in another person, you'd build Mitch McConnell. He's just not his kind of guy.
Right.
They had an uneasy alliance based on their shared agenda, particularly around judges. But now that McConnell has, basically said the president should be investigated criminally, Donald Trump just doesn't stand for that kind of stuff. And it's not surprising to me that he broke his silence on this occasion in the way he did.
Yeah, and I guess that the Senate Majority Whip from South Dakota could become the Senate Minority Leader if McConnell were replaced, Betsy. But what's interesting is people forget the first 2 years of the Trump presidency, there was no love lost between them then. And I think that, Donald Trump accomplished a lot, but he could have gotten a lot more when he had those majorities if he and McConnell saw eye to eye a little bit more early on in his presidency.
Well, that's true. And also Paul Ryan, whose name now seems like ancient history, but
right.
He did Trump no favors in the House and really slowed the Trump agenda tremendously. But the important point about Mitch McConnell is this. Mitch McConnell's speech condemning Trump's behavior on January 6th was totally out of order. It was a violation of our legal principles, a betrayal of the Republican Party, and a big betrayal of Trump. When a defendant is acquitted by a jury, as in this case, the Senate jury, a member of the jury does not go outside and say, well, he was really guilty anyway. That's not the way it's done. That's not the way our legal system or our political system works. And that's exactly what Mitch McConnell did. And the rebuke that he received from Donald Trump was well-deserved.
Yeah. McConnell, though, he's such a chameleon, ever the politician. He's doing that almost to, it seemed like just to throw a bone to the left. Chris, do you think that with what's going on in the House and the Senate and some of the infighting with Republicans, President Trump, a YouGov poll just came out a day ago. It says that Donald Trump is the most popular Republican president ever. He got 36% of the vote. We talked about this leading up to the impeachment, but we said, geez, if the president is in fact acquitted, this might actually have the opposite effect and generate a lot of sympathy for the former president.
Look, I think President Trump's statement yesterday was correct. Mitch McConnell is sour and dour. I challenge anyone to find a picture of him with a smile on his face. I agree with the Lieutenant Governor. What Mitch McConnell did on the Senate floor was wrong. It was not legal in that respect. But I think Mitch was playing the long game. He's a political animal, and I think he's trying to make sure that the donor class, which funds a lot of the campaigns that he's going to need in 2022 to retake the Senate, I think he's trying to placate them more than anything. Mitch is playing long ball.
Chris, how's everybody doing in your family down in Texas? I know you got a bunch of family. You're originally from Tyler, Texas. 4 million people in that state are without power right now.
Well, I remember last week they got like a couple of inches of snow and they thought this was a big deal. Ha ha, look at this. They definitely weren't expecting what they received this week. But the family's doing well. I've had a couple of relatives. Their pipes burst in their house. They had an inch of water in their house. My aunt actually had to call the fire department because she didn't know how to turn off the water. But they are making through with a very tough situation.
I want to play a soundbite for you from Chuck Todd over on MSNBC. He found a way to work this tragedy, and 15 people, Chris, in Texas have lost their lives and counting. That number could go up today, but he found a way to work the coronavirus and politics into this situation down there. Take a listen.
The only upside here is I assume the cold weather motivates people to wear a mask because it's one extra layer on your face. But how bad is it, Morgan?
Betsy, no surprise there. Claire McCaskill, by the way, former senator from Missouri, I believe, she tweeted out, the governor of Texas is telling Texans to stay home because it's too risky to go out in the cold. Let that sink in. Basically insulting Texans.
Look at the New York Times actually blaming the weather blaming this enormous storm on climate change. Preposterous. Texas has had at least 9 storms of this magnitude since the late 1940s. What it really underscores is the importance, the urgency for diverse fuel sources. And Texas really got caught short with its reliance on those windmills.
I mean, rolling blackouts in the state of Texas, that sounds like something in a third world country. I think at the very least it's a reality check for green energy. You know, it really is. Mark, I wanted to ask you about something and just get your thoughts. The vice president, Kamala Harris, is apparently making many phone calls to foreign leaders, one in particular to French President Emmanuel Macron just recently. And this is sort of raising concerns that Joe Biden on teleprompter is eloquent and well-spoken, but if you get him off prompter, we saw a little bit of that during the town hall last night. He seems to get confused at times. Do you think there's anything behind why the vice president is calling foreign leaders and not Joe Biden himself?
I think he's making a lot of the calls. He knows all these people. He has for years. She does not. My sense is that they're looking for figure out what her role is going to be. And part of that is what kind of portfolio will she have on foreign policy and national security, which, as you know, Rob, has been a huge part of every recent vice president's bailiwick. So my sense is that they're giving her a chance to make some of these calls because they want to expand her portfolio and her visibility.
I like that. Did you say bailiwick?
I did. It's right here in the thesaurus on my,
I was going to say,
Google search.
Good use there. But no, Betsy, it does seem, I mean, I don't know if this is common. I don't think it is. And I don't recall Vice President Mike Pence leading any of the phone calls. Don't forget, Joe Biden wasn't on that phone call with the French president, which seems unusual.
But whether it's a governor or a president, each top executive treats as number 2 a little differently. It's a formula that 2 people work out. So I wouldn't read that much into it. Our concern should be focused on what Joe Biden seems unable to do, and that is to respond to questions, to deal with issues off the cuff without a teleprompter, to really sound like a cogent with it president.
Chris,
Rob, that also brings up the question, too, which a lot of people have been wondering, why hasn't the administration, Joe Biden, made a call to our closest ally in the Middle East, Israel, yet?
Yeah, and why did he wait so long to call Xi Jinping and Vladimir Putin? We are now, today is 1 month of the Biden presidency, and a lot more questions than answers. Panel, we'll leave it there. You're coming back with us right after the commercial break. We got a lot more to get into, including the school situation, another unanswered question when it comes to Joe Biden's young presidency. Stay with us. We'll be right back.